Hey, I'm back. Okay, quick though. Totally forgot to charge my computer, but that's fine. I'm back in it. Where was I? Okay, we already talked about the story. So yeah, I just wrote a story, took out the adjectives as I was writing, and I was like, oh, here's an adjective. I just considered if I want to keep it or not, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's how we're going to warm up. At the end of the lesson, they are going to be possibly filling in a flow chart or arrow chart, I guess. In this case, you'll see. Oh, wait, I forgot. Flow chart's one word. Excuse me, my goodness. All right, well, I'm just going to keep it. All right, so speaking of messy, I have like an example of, so they would have to I'm going to give them 3 words or either phrases. They have to put it an example from least to, or put it in order from least to round 3. Put it in order from least descriptive to most descriptive. So I have messy to frayed to frazzled, old to worn to tattered, spotted to splotched to like a Jackson Pollock painting. I almost said Pollock-esque, but they're only first grade. So like a Jackson Pollock painting. Can use again, recyclable, able to be reproduced, or repurposed, or reproduced. Got smaller, shrunken, minimized. Ooh. All right. So yes, they're crazy, high caliber words, but that's the point of the lesson. And trust me, these kids not only want a challenge, but need a challenge. A lot of lessons will consider lower students. Often the higher students get forgotten. So when we say differentiation, that's for anybody. Lower, higher, middle, people that have visual processing issues, audio processing issues, sensory anything issues. And I say issues, but I don't mean that they're issues. They're adjustments. And that's why we have to consider the adjustments in the lessons for those particular individuals that need it. In this case, it's the higher students, my guys. I'm a gate kid for life. All right. COVID, if virtual, if in person. Hopefully, you're going to want to make lessons you're going to want to use again. So, yes, we're planning for virtual, but I'm trying to plan for when we're back in the classroom. I don't know how the edTPA feels about this yet. I might change it tomorrow, but yes, today's Friday, so tomorrow. Or today. Let's not talk about what time this actually is. Okay, so if it's virtual, they're going to need a piece of scratch paper. That's fine because recyclable is one of the words. They can use a scratch paper as long as it has so say it's like printed on one side, preferably the other side's fairly empty, like a few words is fine. Actually, it doesn't really matter, but I really don't want words on there because it's vocab words and it's confusing. Markers or crayons, pencils, remember, writing implements works fine. Scissors. If in person, the only difference is that the actual printout will be provided. That's what the only difference is. And yes, I know there's not a bar here. They're all writing implements. Okay, it's bugging me too, but oh yeah, and that's for each student. There, so you can see the difference for each student. Yes, I have a table within a table too, which can get a little confusing. All right, so classroom management. Usually I put like a list of like the expectations of the classroom environment. So like stay muted when they should be quiet and only unmuting when asked of or when answering. Like have thumbs up, thumbs down system, like things like that I usually put in, but I'm over that. So for classroom manager assistance, virtual constant monitoring will be done by having students hold their work up to the camera for assessment as the lesson goes on. So now I'm just putting things that are just for the lesson, not just in typical. You could do a list if you want of just everything though, every classroom management thing you're expecting, because that is technically goes there. So if you're in the classroom, like it says here, like room arrangement. So if you're doing rotating centers, you're not going to want one big round center. You're going to talk about how, okay, well, one center is this, one center is that, one center is that. That's where you'd break that down to. Or how you would, maybe you want to pair a higher student with a lower student and a middle student, however you want to do the grouping, that's where you'd put that too. it's online. It's hard. We're already in a small group. It's only like 5, 6 of us. So not the biggest deal for me to put a lot here, but be as detailed as you need for your lesson. Supports, accommodations, and or modifications for specific students or groups. As I mentioned, this is where you plan differentiation. So I have for lower students, which in this category, lower is connection issues because it brings them down. We all know that, especially the ones that try the hardest, it's bringing them down. So visual representations will be provided as much as possible. So if they can't hear, hopefully, oh, I think I just kind of, oh, I'm slow. Hold on. I'm back. All right, perfect timing. Talk about connection issues. I don't know if it's recorded, but my screen it was. So connection issues. So if it freezes, the picture's still there. So when I was like maybe possibly freezing, my document was still here. You could still read it. So not a big deal. All right. So visual representations will be provided as much as possible, whether through objects that exemplify the vocabulary word's definition or by showing a picture of it found online. So these are really descriptive words. It's kind of hard to show a picture for recyclable. That's not like the symbol. It's hard to show a picture for frazzled. I feel like it's hard to put a picture. So, but those that can't, like shrunken, that could be an image that I could find probably, or maybe a little cartoon I can draw. Vocal intonation will be used when applicable. So for like shrunken or like frazzled or there's another one I thought, but whenever like throughout like for the Mad Libs, if there is anything you can use your intonation different volumes for, do it. It helps. First graders especially, but any grade. I mean, I won't do it to you guys, but maybe I should. Maybe I should. All right, for higher students. My guys, that's why we're here. So that the whole lesson is technically for higher students, but there's a couple in that group that are even higher than the highest. So for those kids, more advanced descriptive sentences, or just all the kids, more advanced descriptive sentences and or vocabulary will be provided as synonyms to vocabulary words. So example for splattered, you can show a picture of a Jackson Pollock painting and say it was splattered like a Jackson Pollock painting. Art inclusion is a little, okay, that's not enough to really make it an art lesson, but it's still good to include little snippets of other subjects into lessons. So to subtly introduce similes. So not only are you introducing art, but you're introducing similes like a Jackson Pollock painting. Students will choose a word in the story that is not on the vocab list to try to replicate it. Where's my period? Hello? Yeah, I'm gonna go back for just little minor editing things. Okay, anything differentiation goes here. So I could have also planned, we do have kids with IEPs, yet we don't know their goals because we all have goals right now, but they haven't been assessed for them. So it's unfortunate, but I still try and tailor some things to them because I've kind of picked up on what probably would work best for them. Another new thing for me, ND constructs, neurodevelopmental constructs. We are talking about this in our, ELPS class. It is something that we're going to get practice with all together. I mean, yeah, we talked about it in that class, but we're not practicing it per se. So I just felt like language, memory, and attention were the ones I felt most comfortable saying. So it's anything that you have evidence for. I would look up a breakdown of each one. I don't feel comfortable doing it myself, but you would go over here. I'm going to underline this. Strategies. So just the strategies you're using that would meet these neurodevelopmental constructs in your lesson. So I say it's for language, vocal intonation will be used when applicable to add to the meaning of the word, especially for the ones that may have multiple meanings or context used. So for frazzled, you can use frazzled as literally like frayed, or like yourself as a person is frazzled, you're loose ends. So, right? We're all frazzled here. So things like that. Attention. Hands-on activities will keep them engaged. I'm hoping, especially with this virtual environment, giving them a hands-on activity is going to be fun. Memory, constant repetition of using fancier words and chanting, let's get fancy for Miss Nancy. Things like that. I'm going to be annoying. You know me. You know me. Picture me with kids. Bex with kids is something else. All right. Activities. Okay, so we talked about strategy. So what actual strategies in the lesson am I going to use to exemplify these? Now in those, what actual activities are highlighting that? So the language, the activity will, how are they activities? So the activity will expose the students to higher tier vocabulary while also encouraging word choice for language. And then, okay. Attention. Multimedia will be used throughout to promote engagement through a variety of activities. Did I put my slides in the materials? Oh, here it is. You'll see the slides. So I'm going to show you the materials as I use them. All right, where was I? Okay, so again, not the most comfortable with ND constructs. I could be wrong here. I could be wrong. Let me know. The lesson. Let's just make it on a new page. Actually, I guess I should get rid of the italics. Do you guys get rid of the italics? Let me know. Why is this bar there? I'll be fine. I'm a perfectionist at heart, but I'll be fine. Okay. I'm still thinking about that bar, but let's see how I can do this. All right. As a warm-up. So we will be doing our Mad Lib story. Woohoo! I love Mad Libs. Trying to teach them things that I liked. So yes, okay. We'll briefly discuss the difference between them. So this is just a brief warm-up. Remember, warm-ups should be no more than 10 minutes. But it depends on how lengthy the lesson is. But for a quick lesson, it should be no more than 5, I would say. Depends on how many students you're planning on assessing before moving on. If you're trying to do everybody, give yourself more time for that. But in this case, everybody's 5, 6 people. So 5 minutes should be good. Max. If extra time though, have them think of a replacement for an adjective and a noun. So for it within the story. So just a fancier replacement. So I don't like this setup where it's teacher does this, student does that, because I feel like you could do both in one line, but we have to follow the template. So I said, well, this is what the teacher does. Well, students will each have an opportunity to answer an adjective and noun. Oh, okay, Rebecca. Or Bex. Excuse me. I use my full name. How embarrassing. Oh, well, my full name's here. Dress. I'll cover it. All right, so what was I gonna do? Oh my gosh, I totally train was lost. All right, we're back. Read aloud. Everybody's favorite part. So this is where I would whip out the bad boy book. Show them cover. Ooh, make predictions. And then I'll tell them that the book was chosen since it's very descriptive. So I have a link to me reading it. I was just recovering from being sick. I might look like it. My hair was not brushed, but I will put the link up so you can see the book if you wish. And possible questions you can ask in Dora the Explorer fashion. Swipe and no swipe in my material. It's a good book though. All right. It's also based on a Jewish folktale. Gotta represent my culture. All right. And then, so ask students to listen to the words that they think are descriptive. So ask students to remain muted, but clap, cheer anytime they hear a descriptive word being read. So if I read, let me go to a random page, just give me a descriptive word. If I read, it's shrunken, it's small, it doesn't fit you at all. That's ideal. So if I say it's shrunken, they go, or and it's small. Ideally, they're gonna be on mute. So as students listen and remain muted, they will clap / ASL applaud, whatever, whenever they hear a descriptive word that helps them feel / see the fabric. So it's about a blanket, just so you know. It is about a blanket. So it starts as a blanket, okay? And then it's repurposed as, he uses it a lot. It's repurposed as a jacket. He reuses it a lot. It's repurposed as a vest. He reuses it a lot. It's repurposed as a tie. He reuses it a lot. It's repurposed as a button. He loses the button. Freaks out. Mom says, Joseph, what's going on? And then, you gotta find out, you gotta read the story to find out what he makes instead. He realizes, oh wait, I can't make something from nothing, but he makes something from nothing. He makes something. Just read the book, listen to my read aloud. All right, so the students will participate in discussion and answer. So this discussion is down here. Let me move it. So the discussion that will be had throughout is, have you ever had something you cherish deeply? Is there a family heirloom? One of the vocab words we mentioned earlier. Let me actually highlight that. Italicize that. In your lineage. Oh, look at that. Another word. Bada bing, bada boom. Define heirloom and lineage for them. Oh, I guess I didn't need to italicize it there because it was italicized after, but whatever. I'll keep it. Have you ever lost something important to you? So again, small group, there's enough time to answer at least one of these questions for each kid. So it's the goal is to connect them to the reading and start thinking critically. So it's good to ask them open-ended questions, not like, oh, what was the blanket first? What was the blanket? That's good for sequencing and stuff. We're not working on sequencing here. So close-ended is fine, but open-ended questions are the best to ask with reading. Especially ones that they can relate to, they can connect to. So even if we have this mouse family, that maybe they're one of the questions can connect to the mouse family, but particularly you want them to connect to the main character or one of the main characters. At the end of the reading, have students share 1 or 2 descriptive words that they reacted to. So one of the words that they went like when I was reading. Okay, so during that, they will participate in the discussion and they will share 1 or 2 descriptive words that they remember reacting to. So a lot of it's just repetitive over here, I feel like, but sometimes it's not, as you see. So descriptive adjective activity. Have students get the following materials ready: a piece of paper, marker / crayons, pen / pencil, and scissors. You know what? Let me go get that. Be right back.